Okay, Maria, you should hear me. Lisa, you should hear me.
Yes.
I'm going into the Spanish room now. And Lisa, when you see me wave, you're going to start, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Maria, you should hear me. Lisa, you should hear me.
Yes.
Good, but I cannot hear you. Okay, so that's everything's right. And I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, Lisa, you can start. As soon as I see the screen come up, I'm going to hit record. Lisa, make sure that you have the sound turned on. Remember how to do that? You hit
For the
more.
optimal.
I can't hear you.
Oh.
You got to hit on the top bar, you hit more, and then share computer sound, right?
Yes.
Keep going. It's about 3/4 of the way down.
Yep.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. All right. So I'm gonna hit record now. Okay. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our parent and child class, Gaining Understanding and Cooperation Through the Power of Perception. I'm Lisa Navarra from Child Behavior Consulting. And too many times when working with parents, children, and educators, I have found that children get really stuck within themselves in how to overcome a challenge. And what I learned quickly in the classroom, as well as working with private clients, is that it starts with perception. How do children perceive a certain situation? And then how is it that they take that perception and how they feel about it? And then how do they act? And oftentimes we need to stop this cycle for children so that way they are able to make positive choices that are empowering for their own lives. And tonight's agenda will include many of these aspects. But first, I want you to think about some things that you may have seen with your own child. And I want to ask you, what does it look like when your child gives up and thinks something is too hard? We'll take a second, and if you would, just write in the chat if you've seen your child give up. Okay, all right, great. Yes, you see your child whine. You see your child get nervous. Oh, your son gets a little bit of an attitude. Okay. Oh, and your daughter starts to cry. Sure. Okay, all understandable, especially when they feel overwhelmed and not really sure how to tackle this challenge. Can you think of maybe some things that they say? I'm bored. Good. I don't want to do this. Let's do it later. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And what physical signs do you see? How about the parent who just said that your child gets nervous, maybe some anxious? Yep. The hands are starting to move, tapping the pencil, up out of, okay, his seat. Great. You can also look for signs when your child gets a little bit red in the face, red in the ears. That means they're getting nervous, right? What does it look like when you feel like giving up? I always ask parents and educators about themselves because oftentimes what we do, our children reflect, right? And so we want to be aware of the things that we do and say. So it's important that we're aware of what we look like. So I just want you to think about for a second, do you know what you look like when you feel like giving up? Or you have a challenge that just seems too big? So tonight's agenda is to understand perception, learn to manage different perceptions, and learn to teach different perceptions. Because to be able to manage how our child sees something, we need to be able to teach them. And that's what tonight is all about. How do we teach this cognitive skill that floats out there and has a direct impact on the way that we think and feel and act, but yet we can't touch it. So how do we make it real? And that's all about tonight. But first, I want you to understand that perception drives feelings, drives actions. Take a minute to read it. I'll read it with you. Perception drives feelings, drives actions. Perception is the foundation of all learning. And you know where perception comes from? It comes from our prior experiences. Our prior experiences and the senses that we used to be able to interpret those experiences. So how things smelled, how they looked, how we felt during those times. And then your child interprets those experiences as something that's positive or something that's negative. And so if your child feels like he or she can't read, and maybe they've been corrected so often where they feel like they're the only one being corrected. And granted, kids are really sensitive when they feel like they're not good at something, especially when they're around their peers. But they get really sensitive about it. And so their perception about their ability or their skills might be a negative one, which means that they might then say, this is too hard for me and I don't want to do it, which means that they don't do it, and that's the action. And that's why it's so important to understand making this cognitive skill real and tangible for them can be life-changing for them. And I've seen it day in and day out. So thanks so much for joining us today. I'm so happy that you're here. Like I said, it's using our senses to recognize and interpret information from our environment. Perception is the ability to recognize two sides of a situation. It promotes meaningful choices and interactions. So I want you to write in your chat the first thing that you see. I'm going to put a picture up here, and then I want you to tell me what it is that you see. Okay, here we go. Okay, chat away. Teach, teach, learn, teach, teach. Okay, and we have a bunch of learns. Fantastic. Perception. This is something that you can actually use with your own children. You can show your child this optical illusion and teach them that they can look at the same picture, just like looking at the same situation, but they can see it in different ways. Let's try another one. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. Oh, a heart, that's different. Me, balloon, okay. You. Thank you, fantastic. Right, again, this is something that you can use to help your child see different ways when they look at a picture or a situation to be interpreted. So I want you to describe what you see here. Okay, pretty lady, someone who's cold. And what do you see in this one? A witch, yes. And, oh, it's a pretty lady in the 60s, very nice. And in here, there are different ways to see these two women. One is a pretty lady and one is a witch inside. So when I've asked, children to describe it to me, these are some of the examples that I've gotten. And when I was holding another parent workshop, one parent said, "Ah, I see a woman taking a portrait." So that's very interesting. I said, "What made you think of a portrait? What do you do?" And she says, "Well, I'm a photographer for a living." And that's why, from her perception, was quite unique from the people that we were with, because she was the only photographer who took portraits. So she sees things in a different way. Now that's based on her experience. And so those are things that we want our children to understand as well. So I want you to take a look at this. When I post this, I want you to count how many letter Fs you can read. Okay? I'll give you a minute. Okay, and when you're ready, write down in the chat how many you found. 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6. Okay, all right. For those of you who needed a little extra help to find some other ones, check them out in green. The average amount counted is 3, and the most and the correct amount is 6. And oftentimes the reason why we miss the last 3 is because when we read. So let's read this. Finished files are the result of years of scientific study combined with the experience of years. When you say the word of, what letter do you hear at the end? V, right? Of. And so when we're reading it, oftentimes people will miss that letter F, and it's in there 3 times. This is a fun way that you can get your child to learn about perception, and you could do it along with your child as well. I want you to take a look at how I'm asking the children questions, and I want you to take a look at the things that I'm mentioning about their body language and having them become aware of what their perception is, what they're thinking, and how it then led them into how they're acting. Okay.
Kids, we just talked about what perception means, how you've had to change your own perception, sometimes when it's been negative or positive, and also we talked about what it means to have a positive perception, using your tools and making sure that you are focused. That's what you told me, right? So what we are going to do is line up in 2 lines, but you have to do a caring tree to make sure you know how to be organized. And then you are going to throw the ball in. You will wait patiently, and you're going to watch your friends. You're going to watch your friends to see if they have a positive perception. If they look like they're telling themselves, I can and I will. Okay, so what I need is for you to please, 1, 2, 3, good. Stand up, please. Okay, good. Move up just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, stand up and line up over here. Perfect. Okay, stand up over here. Everybody, you're supposed to be over there, please. Caring tree, stand up. Go over here. Good. Good. There's a little more room. You need a little more room. Say, excuse me. Good. Move up. Okay. So, let's begin. What are you going to do before you throw the ball at the clown into one of the holes? What will you do? What will you tell yourself? Okay, if you think that will work, what are you going to do? Breathe. Okay. Okay, for a calm mind, calm body? Okay, go for it. Everybody watch your friends. Let's see if they have a positive or negative perception.
The first try.
Their first try. Okay, you can go take the ball and give it to the next person. She's still smiling though. Does that mean she has a positive perception?
Yeah. Yes. It went to
Take one more deep breath. Belly breathe. Focus. I can and I will.
Where's the ball? Oh, there it is.
I can and I will. Does it work? Yes.
Yeah.
Did she keep a positive perception?
Yeah.
Did she give up on herself?
No.
Did she goes, oh, I can't do it? Did she do that?
No.
No. All right. Fantastic. Keep focusing and launching, please.
Okay. So do you see how I modeled for them based on something that they were doing that's fun? You could do the same thing for your kids, whether they're in sports or whether they're playing a game or just trying to accomplish whatever it is. Take a step back and really observe the way that they are perceiving the situation and then how it impacts their way of thinking. So here we have another student, and this student is using perception, and he was very able to talk about these cognitive skills, and he used them every day, and it really benefited him a lot. And so I wanted to take the time to share this with you as well, because really it's important to see how children interpret this information themselves and then use it and talk about it, because it just makes sense to them, especially giving them some strategies and tools that they need to overcome their challenges. So let's take a look.
Okay. Well, mostly I was like, mostly I did this, and I missed the ball. But I said myself, I can and I will. I'll do it. And if how long it takes, I will do it. And then I fill the ball in. Like,
Just like that?
yeah.
Hey, what do you do when you get stuck on a tricky word?
I say I can and I will.
Okay, and then what?
And then I use my reading cue card and I spell it and then spell it out and stuff.
Oh, you use your reading cue card. So it has your what on it?
It has like a couple of words and pictures, and then we write the
Right, and those are called
strategies.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for sharing. We appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
I can and I will as long as it will take, right? Isn't that what we want our kids to feel like? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. But the thing is, we want them to keep going, but with the understanding of how to get there. Not just this is the goal that they need to get to or they want to get to, but really how do they get there? And perception is the foundation of learning. And so perception is where we first start. However, when there's a little stress or worry or anxiety, it's really important for children to remain calm. And to remain calm is very important to be able to have a positive perception. If a child has a negative perception and is really uptight, he or she may not be really focused and able to change that negative perception to something positive. So here you want to really teach a child how to breathe. And it could be using another visual. Again, breathing is something that we do. We can't touch it, although we can feel our breath. We can feel our stomach going in and out. They're physical signs. But making it something where kids can breathe in their nose, slow out their mouth, and letting them really feel and see how breathing helps them. It helps them to have a calm mind for a calm body. Very important. So here, to really emphasize how breathing supports positive perception, one day I had this one girl who She always seemed very happy and never moody, not ups and downs. But she ended up using the pretty lady. So you remember those two pictures that I had showed you with the pretty lady on it and the women, and we kind of labeled what it is that you see. Well, that's what she did. She took that home, and it really helped her to have a positive perception. So let's take a look at how the pretty lady, instead of the ugly lady, helped her to breathe and stay calm.
Yes?
If you're mad, you can breathe.
Have you ever felt mad and that you took a special breath from your belly breath? Yes? And how did it make you feel? A little happy? Okay. And then what did you do after that? Did you do anything mad or
I take my
you took your what?
tool.
You took your tool? And which tool did you take?
The one.
You forgot which tool?
Yeah, the one is like the lady.
Oh, the lady of the perception? So let me get this straight. You were mad. Everybody should be carrying a tree. This is a great lesson right here. So you were feeling mad. You took a belly breath. And then you thought to take out your perception tool. And what side did you put the perception tool on? The pretty lady or the ugly lady?
The pretty lady.
And why did you put it on the pretty lady?
Because I breathe and I didn't give up.
Because you breathed and you didn't give up. And then after that, do you remember what you did? What were you doing at the time that you felt mad?
I said to my mind to take a big breath.
Were you doing work?
Yeah.
You were doing work. And then did you continue to do your work after taking out the pretty lady and breathing?
Yes.
Yes. I hope you all heard that. That's fantastic. That is why we practice breathing. And so when you're breathing, it helps you to have a calm for a
Calm body.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You see how the two they mesh in with one another? Really important for kids to understand. Because remember, as I mentioned earlier, perception drives feelings, drives actions. They have a direct impact on one another and really is cyclical. So we don't want to teach it so much in isolation, although we do want to understand each aspect of perception, staying calm, and being able to really focus. And so here are some reasons why children take breaths in their own interpretation. It's really wild how kids can internalize a lot of these skills. And I really think that by them expressing what they're learning and how it works for them helps us to be able to support our kids in the way that they need us to.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yes.
Okay. We just did our belly breathing exercises. And what does that help us with? Yes? We do our work, we focus. Does anybody else feel like breathing helps you focus? Okay. What else does breathing help you with? Yes?
Like if some people are mad, they have to belly breathe so they can calm down.
Okay, some people feeling mad, they belly breathe to calm down. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes?
Or if they're feeling sad.
Or if they're feeling sad. Thank you for sharing. I have another question for you. Did you use belly breathing at all over the weekend? Because we had a 4-day weekend. Raise your hand if you used belly breathing over the weekend. You did. Okay, thank you. Raise your hand if you remember when or why you used belly breathing to help you over the weekend. You remember? Yes? Share with us.
When I breathe, I remembered because I use my brain to like do math by the x's like 5x2 equals 10.
5 times 2 equals 10. You're multiplying. You're practicing multiplication at home. and you're breathing.
Yes.
And how were you feeling when you felt like you should take a breath?
Like take a break.
Oh, you needed to take a break. Wow, that's really great self-awareness. That means you, Caring Tree Boys and Girls, make sure. That means you knew when you needed to take a break. And your break was to take a,
Calm mind.
to get a calm mind. And how did you get a calm mind?
To when my body feels
Feels it. And you took a belly, what?
belly breathe.
Yes, fantastic.
Amazing how he was able to put in all those words of how it works for him. Absolutely amazing. This is real classroom footage that is so authentic. I don't know if you noticed this boy in the back right here. While he was speaking, he was breathing. And I have to tell you, I have never noticed that until right now. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, kids listen to other kids. We know that. So if we can get them to model from us and then be able to teach them and be able to ask them questions and have them think about the things that they're doing, it's phenomenal. It's really great, powerful stuff. Okay, and that's what he was doing. He was listening. So I probably need a calm mind, calm body right now. Let me take a breath. But now, what if your child has maybe difficulty with some work? And how do we figure this out? How do we get through it? And so here we have a little girl who, again, she really embraced the power of perception. She used to be really tough on herself and really very much, if she didn't get everything perfect and right, she would just break down and cry and not be able to get anything done until she learned a lot of these strategies and perception. So here you see that they have tools, right? So I gave them each a toolkit. And then one in their toolkit, they have their perception tool. And she was using her perception tool. Very important. And so here, that's what this was here and here. And so let's hear about what she has to say about getting her work done with a positive perception. And I believe that someone new had joined us. So if you would, feel free to put in the chat how old you are and or what grade that you're in. I would love to hear from you. I think I saw one name was Wilma, I think. So welcome. And yeah, definitely let me know a little bit about yourself. Throw it into the chat.
And now I'm going to learn.
Great job. What number did you make?
15.
That's right. Very good. Oh, and I noticed that you have two tools out. What tools did you take out?
Hungry and the position.
Oh, the perception? What made you take the perception tool out?
Because and she used her tool, she never.
And she never gives up. What about this one here?
That's the ugly witch.
Oof. And?
I don't want to be the ugly witch, but I want to be the pretty lady.
Why?
Because I like the pretty lady.
What does she do again?
No, the pretty lady, she used her tool. And then Henry, he used his tool too.
He does. Just like you. You use your tools to make what number?
Look, this guy is terrible too.
What number? Count them.
This guy is terrible too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Move the bracelet.
8, 9, 10,
Take the focus out.
12, 13, 14, 15.
15. Is 15 an even or odd number here? Does it have a pair or remainder?
These, they have pairs. And this one, they not have pairs.
It's a...
Remainder.
Right. So is that an even or odd number?
Even.
Thank you.
And that's how we can apply positive perception when doing work when it's challenging or when it's tricky. Okay, so now we're getting into some of our story, and we're leading up to our project that we're going to do together. So let's listen to the story of It Looked Like Spilt Milk. So boys and girls, have you ever listened to this story before? Well, in this story, there's milk that's spilled that looks certain ways. Take a look when you're reading the story with us, what you think each picture looks like. And then we are going to make our own little project.
It Looked Like Spilt Milk by Charles G. Shaw. Sometimes it looked like spilt milk, but it wasn't spilt milk. Sometimes it looked like a rabbit, but it wasn't a rabbit. Sometimes it looked like a bird, but it wasn't a bird. Sometimes it looked like a tree, but it wasn't a tree. Sometimes it looked like an ice cream cone, but it wasn't an ice cream cone. Sometimes it looked like a flower, but it wasn't a flower. Sometimes it looked like a pig, but it wasn't a pig. Sometimes it looked like a birthday cake, but it wasn't a birthday cake. Sometimes it looked like a sheep, but it wasn't a sheep. Sometimes it looked like a great horned owl, but it wasn't a great horned owl. Sometimes it looked like a mitten, but it wasn't a mitten. Sometimes it looked like a squirrel, but it wasn't a squirrel. Sometimes it looked like an angel, but it wasn't an angel. Sometimes it looked like spilt milk, but it wasn't spilt milk. It was just a cloud in the sky.
Did you like that story? Okay, so what we are going to do together is, again, making this thing called perception that hopefully by now you really learned what perception is. You learned why it's important, and you've learned how to model and teach it a bit. And also, hopefully you've learned how to apply it to when at home, to stay calm with your breathing, and also maybe when you're doing your homework or when you're in school, to be able to apply positive perception. So here we're going to make a project. Actually, that project is right here. Here's the original from one of my beloved students. And what does this look like to you? You could throw it in the chat. What does that look like to you? She made it as a bird. And that bird was seen in different ways from people. It was seen as an eagle, a bat, glove, a bird from somebody, so the same perception, a ghost, right? Here's another one. I'll show you another one. Okay. And here we have, it looks like an egg to somebody, and yet Kalia here, she thought it looked like a butterfly. And this says most people see things differently. I made a cloud and it looks like a butterfly. What does it look like to you? She wrote, I see a white butterfly. And she drew a little picture. And another person thought it was an egg. I've asked somebody, and just recently actually, and he saw it as eyes and bushy eyebrows. And then he saw a different one. Then he saw it as a clown. And that was the big nose. Right? And so there's different ways that we can see the same picture or the same situation, work, same relationships. And this also includes when you ask your child to do something that he or she might not want to do. So first, please get your construction paper out. If you would, please fold it in half. Okay? And then all you need to do is take one end and fold it again. Okay? There. Now open it up. And like we had mentioned, you need a little bit of white paint. And now you can see why, right? So let's open up your paint. Put just a little drop right here, okay? So I will put little drop right here. There we go. Or if you want to be brave, you could do more. That's fine too. And then fold it over, rub it a little bit, and let's see what we have. Look at that. Oh, what does this look like to you? Can you tell me in the chat what it looks like to you? You know, I was just at the store. Actually, it was a dollar store, and I picked up a couple of ornaments. So to me, when I look at it like this, it looks like an ornament. Ah, thank you. Oh, it looks like a dove. Sure, I could see that too. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so now let's take a look at yours. What does yours look like? And please make sure that you show it with the parent, with your parent or the adult that's with you today. Oh, wow. Maria, can you tell us what yours is? What is yours, Maria? I see you worked really hard and you really focused. You had your little paint there. Let's see. Oh, Maria made a caterpillar. Let's take a look at Maria's. And let's all think about how we see it. How do we perceive it? That's funny. You know, that actually reminds me of one of those little twisty pencils that you used to be able to bend and a pipe cleaner. I don't know, that's just how I see it. Thank you so much for sharing. And just because we see it differently doesn't mean that I'm wrong or Maria's wrong. We're both right. Okay, and I read these to you earlier. Okay, so what we can do here is when we're talking to our child or kids that joined us today, thank you so much. You can really listen to what your mom and dad are asking you to do. So if they're asking you to sit down and concentrate or pay attention, or as I would say, focus, get your work done, or get up in the morning or clean your room, and your perception is no way, I don't want to. You can always remember and go back to your project to say, you know what, I have a choice here. And my choice is to either cooperate as a team or not. And if I want to cooperate, but I don't feel like it as a team, then at least I can say, do you mind if I take a break? I just want to get a drink of water and then I'll get back to my work. And if you say that to keep your word, and maybe your mom or dad can work that out with you. And you're changing your perception. Or if your parent is trying to get you up in the morning and your perception is, oh my goodness, all I want to do is sleep, sleep, sleep. But you know that you shouldn't. I would suggest taking what? A deep breath, thinking of something positive. So that way you would have a positive perception on starting your day. And these are some ways that we can model and teach to our children. And the same thing goes for really understanding what your mom or dad's perception is when they're asking you to do something. So when they're asking you to do something, remember, they might not be wrong, and odds are they might be right. But just because you don't agree doesn't mean you can't get along. And so we need to work together and having a positive perception and talking about what we're thinking, just like those videos, they really do help us. They help us to be able to talk to each other and understand each other. So I would like to know if you have any questions. Oh, good. So you like the suggestion about when you have to clean up your room or get up? Oh, Oh, look, okay, yes, please tell me what your question is. And what grade are you in? Second? Okay, go for it. How can you use perception? I like the way you wrote that. In the classroom when we have to distance from each other. Yes, I know it's tough to learn when you're in the same class, but you can't touch each other or share each other's things. Well, what do you think I might say? First thing to have a calm mind and a calm body is, what do you need to do? Can you throw it in the chat? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's take a look. That's right. Yes. Take a deep breath. And you could think of something positive. The perception is, you know what? I know that I'm learning a lot here in school, and it's better than being at home. So let me accept that we have to distance for now. And then when this is all over, we get to be together again in the way that we like, using a positive perception. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. So I want to give you my information. My information is here. I would suggest going on YouTube or my Facebook page, and it's all Child Behavior Consulting. You'll get a lot of information there, and it'll give you a lot of strategies for lots of different scenarios. And you'll also see more videos of children, which I think would be great for kids too, to be able to see. So, as I usually say, building the skills from the inside out to let the outside in. Building those cognitive skills up to make it a great day. I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been absolutely wonderful. Have a great day.